Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Live to Roll show. I am your host for the day, Brianna Wheeler. Today's topic is going to be talking to about being a Rollettes little sister. So I'm super excited about that. We have some amazing guests with us today, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Let's start with Maya.
Hey guys, it's Maya here. I am a C5, C6 quad due to gun violence, and I am a Rollettes little sis.
Thank you. Let's go to Joci.
Hey guys, I'm Joci Scott. I am a T12 paraplegic from a plane crash about 2.5 years ago. I'm originally from Akron, Ohio, but recently just moved to Los Angeles. And I'm Rollettes Lil
Thank,
sis too.
Thank you. And let's go to Missy. Oh, we can't hear you. Are you muted? No, you sound. No. We could just hear her before, right? Yeah. Oh no. You can try logging off and then just log right back on and hopefully you'll pop up back up. Okay, perfect. Okay. And then I'm Brianna. You guys probably already know me already. I'm a T12 through L5 from the gun violence almost 6 years ago, and I'm from Los Angeles, California as well. Anybody that's joining us live right now, feel free to chat away in the chat box. I will be stopping like throughout the show to read it and off any comments. If you guys want to chat to each other or you guys want to make any chats to me or any of the girls, ask any questions at all, please feel free to do that. Missy, are you back? Can we hear you?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yay.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm Missy. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I am also a little sis. I am a T9 incomplete spinal cord injury. I was paralyzed 2.5 years ago from a tumor removal.
Thank you so much, Lau. Okay, so getting started on the questions, we're just going to start from the beginning. So, when did you first hear about the Roulettes? Were your first thoughts about them? Did you immediately want to be a part of the team? Kind of getting into that a little bit. So, Maya, you want to go first for us?
Yeah. Okay, so I was first injured in 2018. I forgot to say how long I was injured earlier. I always forget something in the intro. But so my first outlet to really the disability community was on social media. And on social media, I was posting a lot of recovery videos. And Chelsea's mom actually saw one of my recovery videos and tagged the Rollettes. And that's how I was able to really like get more involved in the disability community. And when I saw the Rollettes, I was really just amazed. I was like, wow, these girls are really out there like living their lives, not letting anything stop them. And I was inspired. And immediately, I didn't want to be on the team. I just wanted to meet them and I wanted to get tips from them. I wanted to learn how I could do what they were doing. I remember seeing a video of Steph, who, if you guys don't know, she is a quad, the same level as I am, C5, C6, and she was making her bed like with the fitted sheet and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. Like, how is she able to do that? So that was really what drove me to like go to Rollettes experience and get more involved was just the independence level, really.
Hmm. Yeah, I can relate to that so much. How about you, Josie? How was it for you?
So I was injured in the summer of 2019, and it's actually kind of funny because one of my best friends sent me Chelsea's profile like 3 or 4 months after my injury, and I was like, oh my God, she's beautiful and she's like doing all these things. So when I found out about the Rollettes, I immediately was like, that seems right for me. Like, this is a sign. I've been a performer my whole life. And I was like, I feel like I need to connect with these people. So, yeah, I did immediately want to be part of the team. Not even going to lie about it. I was like, that just sounds amazing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so cool that you were a performer before and then you got introduced to them and then, it just fits so perfectly in who you were. So that's so beautiful. We'll get more into that. So how about you, Missy?
kind of the same as Joci. I was still in therapy, so about, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Double check this time.
You're all
Um,
good.
I was still in therapy, so I was still like a week injured, and I had these little girls come and perform. Maybe y'all have heard of them, but the Aida dance girls, they're like really big with the Rollettes, and they come to like all of their shows and performances. So maybe y'all have heard of them, but they came and performed while I was still in therapy, and I was like, oh my gosh, they dance. I've been introduced to all these sports, and I'm like, I'm not a sporty girl. I don't want to do basketball. I don't want to do volleyball. I like cheerleading, dance. That's my cup of tea. And so when I saw them dancing, I was like, there has to be an adult dance team. And so my first wheel friend showed me them online, the Rollettes. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet them. I need to be a part of this. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to be a part of it.
Wow, I think that's so interesting that you were so interested in the beginning and you saw them and you wanted to be a part of it and you were like, wow, already thinking about your quality of what your quality of life could be, because I didn't even want to meet anybody in a wheelchair for like 2 years after my injury. So I always think that that's super cool. Sorry, my dog, he's like a little baby man. And yeah, so that's super cool. Okay, so the next one is going to be describe the timeline to when you actually met the team and then lead up to when you became a little sis. How were you asked? Were you hesitant or excited? So let's hear from that. So, Maya, how was it for you?
Okay, so from first hearing about the Rollettes, let's see, I was injured in um, April of 2018, and I ended up going to Rollettes Experience in July of 2019. So it was like probably about like a little less than a year that I had known about them to when I actually got to go out and meet everyone and, have the experience of Rollettes Experience. Um, and that was amazing to me. Like Rollettes Experience is a whole nother world, just being around so many girls in a wheelchair. And that was when I decided to get more involved in the community. And that timeline for me was like joining the Boundless Babe Society. And I was really into the Boundless Babe Society. And then later on in 2020, Chelsea called and was saying that they were opening the Rollettes Little Sis program again, and that she had me and these two other amazing girls in mind to be Rollettes Little Sisters, and told us to think about it. Immediately I was like, I don't have to think about it. I'm so down. Let's go. I can't wait. I'm so excited, because just being around the girls and seeing what everyone is doing for the community was such an inspiration to me that at that point I was like, I can't wait to be a part of this. During that timeline of joining BBS and being more involved, that's when my desire really kicked in. Like, I want to be a part of this team. So when I was asked to be a little sis, I was so grateful, so amazed.
Oh, I love that. Your story always gives me chills because I remember being there that first year and we so happen to be in the same group too. And there's not a lot of gun violence people there. I think it's just usually me, you, and then at that time Diamond was there too, I believe. And yeah, and I just like was so amazing that you were trying so hard to be there and be involved with everybody, and you were still so tired and so new with it, but you were giving it your all and you were like on that dance floor and to see you now, a part of the team and to watch you up there and meeting so many people and growing, it's like such a beautiful thing to watch you flourish, and I feel like it all goes back to this dream that Chelsea had, and I think that's so beautiful that all these people's lives have changed so much from, really one person and then leading up, to a couple of people just really putting their all out there, and really knowing what it means to be a part of something, and have wheelchair friends and creating this experience for us to go to. So I think that's super cool. I love your story so much.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, of course. Okay, how about you, Josie? How was it for you?
So I applied to be part of the Boundless Babe Society in June of 2020. So that was their second round of applications for the program. And um, I was so excited about the BBS. Like, I was just excited to have the mentorship and the community from the program. And I feel like setting those goals in that program and just listening to all the other girls' stories and like struggles and identifying with what they were saying was really impactful to me. And so I was really excited about that part of Rollettes as well. Like, yeah, they're a dance team, but once I joined BBS, I was so excited to just reach other people and like connect on that deeper level of understanding that we all have with each other. Um, so I also was taking private lessons from Chelsea for dance because I was like, I need to get back in it. So, in January, like Maya said, she was like, "Oh, we want to bring on some more little sisters. Like, would you be interested?" And I was like, "Hell yeah! Like, when do I start? I'm like, when do I book the flight for?" Like, so I was very excited and just still like very excited about the opportunities that we've all had to connect with women in this community. It's just like it blows me away sometimes when I sit and think about it. So
Yeah, so cool. I love the BBS program. For anybody that doesn't know, it's a program that the Rollettes put on where they have different groups of girls. I think there's probably like 20 or 30. Well, that's how many was inside of mine. And they have like different sections where they teach you about different topics. And she really gets into her experiences. Chelsea will post videos and we'll have Zooms and you get to meet other girls. And just it opened my eyes to that I'm more than just a disabled woman as well, and that I need to work on myself and becoming the best version of me, regardless if that's walking or rolling, And I think that's so cool because I feel like initially that wasn't my goal, and I don't really know I think my goal was just, the Rollettes are doing something and I want to be a part of it. And that's why I joined, but I didn't know how life changing it was going to be for me to dig deeper into these topics and really see like what she needed to realize in order to become a boss babe inside of a chair, and the struggles that she had to endure because of that. And then not only that, but just getting that one-on-one with so many other women and knowing that we're not alone in this, and we can all come together and share experiences, So I love that program. Anybody who's not aware, go on their website and check it out. Yeah. So Missy, how was it for you?
Yeah, I did the BBS program as well. I love the mentorship program. You get Chelsea, you get Bria in there just weeping. If you start it happy, you're like bawling by the end in your feels. Great program, but I did that as well. And I did her dance classes weekly. I was just on it. I was in there like learning the dances and getting all dressed up and my makeup done every week and like learning it perfectly or trying to learn it perfectly and sending it to her every week and like, what'd you think? How could I do better? And so I would send that to her and, just try to stay on top of it and learning it and just trying to do my best. I think that's how I like really just got involved with it and
Yeah,
stuck
staying
with it.
consistent. You had a love for it, and it really did
Yeah.
show. Yeah, I think that's so cool. Because I feel like it's a lot more easier when you have that like choreograph inside your head and stuff. And I just feel like when you're first injured, you kind of don't know if that's possible again. So I really think it's cool that she's giving you guys a new way of adapting, these dances and like really feeling still seen, and still powerful and still talented inside of your chair. Like that's the ultimate goal.
I love that you mentioned that, she's giving us perspective on how to adapt the dances and stuff because when I first went to Rollettes Experience, I'm looking at the choreographers and I'm like, they, they're using their legs. Like, how am I doing this? Because when they're teaching us, like, they're still using their full body. They're not adapting it for us, and the girls are showing us, and that's just such a beautiful thing to me, to see the process right there at Rollettes Experience. It was mind blowing for me, so eye opening. And, for me, it's a lot of level changes being a quadriplegic, and some of the girls, well, a lot of the girls are paraplegics, so I can't get to the same levels that they can, but Chelsea still like has such an eye for that and will change things around for me, and like will easily adapt like what the team is doing. Like we've had, Josie and I had to match levels before. She had to go lower because I couldn't go higher. And it's just things like that that you wouldn't even imagine, until you're actually in it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I remember like even like where you have to kind of grab your chair, to turn, and like little tiny things that you don't really think about. Like a lot goes into it, honestly. And it is difficult to kind of get down inside your brain unless somebody's really showing you, to your face. And I think it's so cool now that you're out there making videos and showing other new quads that they can do it and that it's okay, and that this is how you do it. And so I think that that's super powerful to see that kind of full circle. Okay, so now we're gonna get into Rollettes experience. So Maya, you explained a little bit about your first one, but once you left, like, what was your perspective on life? Like, when was there a big change from the beginning day to the end day? Like, what was your realization over that weekend, or your favorite memory or anything?
okay, so Brianna, you touched on this earlier. I was exhausted during Rollettes Experience, my first one. Like you guys, I had to go back to my room, like skip some classes and just rest because I was so tired being
Mhm.
17 months injured. But coming back home, well, I'll say from the day that I won the Boundless Babe, not the Boundless Babe Award. Was it Boundless Babe? I forget the name of it. Yeah, it was Boundless Babe Award that year. And then from the day of the pool party, where it was like the last day, we get to chill, really just hang out and make connections, to even like the plane ride home, I was just on a high, probably for a few months afterwards, just feeling unstoppable. Nothing could stop me. I had a whole new outlook. I'm saying the word boundless every day, all day, like I'm boundless, all the time. And it really gave me motivation to become better, to work on like professional development, to work on skills that I hadn't even thought about, touching again since my
Mhm.
injury, because I was focused on therapy. But you can focus on therapy while you're focused on bettering yourself in other ways. It doesn't have to just be about the physical and getting movements back. There's so
Mhm.
many things that go along with that, and my mind was open to those, and it that really changed a lot for me.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful. I feel like the Rolls experience is the one place, honestly, that I found where I can, after a while, you don't even feel a difference. Like everybody's eye level with you, you kind of just in your zone, and you feel so normal. Everybody has gone through something. Everybody needs to cath. Everybody, has all these other things going on. Everybody has spasms or nerve pain. And it's like you're not the odd one out when you're in a crowd, or at least when I'm in a crowd and I'm the only one inside of a chair, even when you try to ignore it, there's still little parts I feel like in my mind that make me remember that I'm disabled, or remind me that people's eyes are on me. And that's just not the case there. And it's such a beautiful experience. And you really leave there feeling motivated and just ready to take on the world, like Maya said. And I think that it's one of my favorite events to go to, definitely. Let me see. I see a chat. Thank you so much, Nicole, for our super chat. I appreciate you. She said, "Hi, ladies. You're all doing so beautiful. You are all so beautiful and doing great things for this community. Thank you so much." Hi, Andrew. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry about your bad week. Sending prayers for you. And Ashley said, "Yes, Maya, quad squad girl. Love it. That's cute."
Yes.
And then for anybody that's listening that doesn't know, the Rollettes Experience is a 4-day event out of the year that the Rollettes put on, and it's kind of jam packed with workshops, dance classes, events where we all just get together and kind of share our stories, and pajama parties, dance parties, all kinds of fun. They just pack it full of fun. It's like a summer camp for wheelchair users, and it just is a blast. It is tiring, don't get me wrong, but it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. You meet tons of people, and like I said, that's where me and Maya met too, and we have been really close friends since then. And it almost feels like it's crazy to think that we live in different states because like we're just so frequent inside of each other's lives, and you find that you do find a sisterhood, you do find a friendship circle, find people that you vibe with and that you can connect with, that not everybody can get in their same city because not everybody has a bunch of wheelchair users in their state or their city. So this really gives a lot of people a different perspective on life and a different um, group of friends.
Yes,
So Joci,
July 21st through 24th
mhm,
of this year. Come on out.
yes, sign up now. Um, Josie, how was it for you for your first rollouts experience?
So,
So, yeah, because
my
you got injured early in 2019, right? Did you say?
yeah, so I was injured like 4 days before the 2019 Rolettes experience. So obviously, I like was not there, didn't even know what. So, my first Rolettes experience in person was as a little sister. So, when I signed up in January 2020, before I was a little sis and everything,
Mhm.
I was fully expecting it to be like all of the performing arts camps I had been to, like as a child. Like I was like, okay, we're gonna be dancing all day, and then we're gonna have this. And I was like prepared for literally like a military camp. But then, like the Zoom version, they had to condense a lot of the stuff and just kind of rearrange it to make it work for the virtual platform. And so it was interesting, like seeing all the faces in the little boxes on the screen. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is like reaching so many people. So as a little sister this past year, we got the kind of like behind the scenes perspective on like how it everything operates and how like you're like scarfing food down in between like this panel and this dance class, and I'm gluten free and they always forgot something for me to eat, so I was always like postmating something to the hotel. But
Yeah, it's a
like
hectic weekend.
right, for sure. But like it was like Maya was saying, it was just so rewarding. Like I
Mhm.
remember when we all came down and were like filming the dances, even though we had our masks on, there were people like Addie and Alexandra and Amber Clark, and they were just like absolutely killing it. And I could see the passion that I have about dance reflected in them. And it was just really cool to see that from a bunch of girls who come from like all different backgrounds and diagnoses. Yeah, it's just like there's
Yeah,
no
what a
way
beautiful
to get,
experience.
yeah.
Super empowering. And how was it like everybody knowing who you were? Like having people come up to you and like feeling like, everybody wants to take pictures and stuff. Like, was that overwhelming, do you feel like, or do you feel like you kind of just glided right into it?
It was a little overwhelming at first, but it would be weird because like I would go up to like a group and talk to them, and they would be like, "Oh, so what's your name?" And I would be like, "Oh," I mean, like introduce myself and everything. But so it was like weird because we'd only been around for like 6 months, so some people would know, some people wouldn't. But like even throughout the rest of this year, I feel like it's just like I'm meeting somebody who my journey has like impacted, and something that I'm doing is speaking to them. So I feel like it's really cool, and I'm just thankful to them for like giving me a voice and following my journey, because that's really what I want to do is like inspire people. So
Hmm. Yeah, and like that's so beautiful that you're in a position to do that now, to inspire people, because not everybody has the heart to do it. That's what I realized that, some people may even want to, but they just don't have maybe just that spark to do it, or they're more afraid, or whatever the case may be. And then there's those that just don't even think about inspiring people, and like whether they're in a chair or not, they just don't have that heart to volunteer and to give back, and you have to give a lot of your time, and it's a lot of patience and stuff involved in it. So I think that's so beautiful that you just fell so right into this role. Like it's unfortunate that we're in these positions, don't get me wrong, but I think it's such a beautiful full circle moment that we can still be beautiful badasses in these chairs, and that we can still inspire and motivate other people. And like the fact that I remember sitting at home and being newly injured, and staring at these girls that were dancing their hearts out and living life and loving life and teaching little tips and tricks. And that was life changing for me. It was just that little kick in the butt that I needed, that little bit of motivation to tell me, wait, this is possible. Because when you're first injured, let's be real, we don't know that it's possible. We're not really sure the possibilities. So the fact that they have such a huge movement, I think it's so inspiring all the time. It empowers me every time I think about it.
Right.
So how it was for you, Missy? Did you go to a Rollettes experience before you were a little sis?
So I didn't actually physically go. My first one technically was a virtual one. So I did one at home, and I didn't want to be at home by myself. So I had girls over. So I celebrated with friends, and I met a bunch of wheel girls that were close to me and some out of state. So that was like a really cool moment to meet new girls. So the Rollettes brought people together, even though I didn't get to meet them. I hadn't even met all the team members yet that year. And then my first year on the team as a little sis was 2019, and that's when I met Maya and Joci as a little sis, and we came together. And that year was just, oh my gosh, like phenomenal. They prepare you and they tell you it's going to be spectacular. But, when you go in there and you see everybody, it's just crazy. So,
Mm-hmm.
the women in this community are so powerful, and I am so proud to be a part of it. I realize that I was always proud to be a part of it, but seeing it, I realized that I am beyond proud to be part of this community. I will never doubt that after being,
Yeah.
in that room. I'm like, no, I'm proud to be in this chair.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes able-bodied people don't really understand that, where I've reached the point in my life where I'm content, or the fact that I used to get asked, like, would you go back if you could? And before I would be like, hell yeah, send me back in an instant, But now I'm like, how can I say that I'll go back, knowing everybody that I met, seeing all the things that I've seen, being a part of this community? Like, I wouldn't want to go back to being oblivious to all of it, honestly, because it has humbled me so much. It's made me greater. It's made me stronger. It's made me everything that I've wanted to be, And I've realized that I was struggling with just my own thinking before my injury, So I feel like now that I got to go to the BBS program, and learn all this stuff about myself. Like, it's changed so much for me, and I couldn't take it back now. Yeah, so I feel like the people are a big part of that, because the people mean something so dear to my heart, and getting to meet somebody at their lowest moment, or when they've never met somebody else inside of a chair, and just being like, we can do this together. If there's a hump, we're all going to get over this hump together. It's not like everybody just walks over the hump and now I'm struggling in the background. It's like, no, we're all doing it, like, don't worry. And like, that motivation to just hear that and just to feel that energy and powerfulness in the room, it's magical. Like, there's no other word to describe it besides magical. Like, it's a beautiful experience. So anybody that's debating or not sure, or it's never been, sign up. You're not going to regret it. It's tiring, don't get me wrong. There's a lot going on, but it's not just about dance. And it's about friendship, and it's about, of course, pacing yourself. They jam the weekend pack because you're paying for an experience, so they want to give you your all out of it, but you're not required to go to every single thing, so it's just like pacing what you want to do, just like any other event, because it's a long 4 days. But at the end, it's something that you're gonna be like, wow, like I feel so great. Like, even though I'm so tired and my body needs a month to recover, I feel so much energy, and motivation from it. So definitely check it out, give it a try.
Yeah, I see Nikki's
Um,
comment in the chat that her and Ashley are debating to go to Rollettes Experience this year, which Nikki, we've talked about this and you know how I feel, so come on.
yeah, definitely. I think that it would be so great to have them there. And I don't even think they realize like how, impactful their story is, and how like much their energy feels like us even through online. So you guys definitely have to come down. It's tons of fun. And it's worth saving up for the year. I know tons of girls that like literally save up all year for this one event, but at the end you really do feel like it's worth it. And it just, I can't even explain it. It just fuels you in a different way. And hearing the panels and just seeing everybody just grinding, it's just, you go home and you're like, all right, time to check off my goal list. I need to write this down. Next year's vision. You're just like on it. And I love it so much. Mm-mm-mm. She also said, what's the next step for Rollettes Little Sis? Do you mean like with the team, or I don't really understand what you're asking, Nicole. Maybe you could clarify for me. JJ Mack, evening. Rachel from UK. Thank you so much for joining us. Food is art. Love you, girls. Love from Portugal. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us. Chelsea, can any level of injury go and participate? Also, are caregivers allowed to come? So, yes and yes. There's tons of different levels of injury and diagnosis. There's girls that use devices to speak. There's all kinds of different levels, and there's even people that aren't even in a wheelchair full time but have a disability. And caregivers are also allowed to come. Yes,
It's all held
I.
in the same hotel and it's right by the airport. So there's like a wheelchair accessible shuttle. You just take right to the hotel and everything's in that hotel. So it's very like you just go and it should be very easy. Yeah, and everybody gets their own room. So please come.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you can either have somebody come with you or you share a room with the girl. So I've done both. I've had my family come with me, and then this last year was my first year being by myself and sharing a room with somebody, which is fun too. It kind of depends on the amount of care that you need, I would say. I honestly would probably bring my family members next time, only because girl, I get exhausted after a while. I'm trying to be pushed. And like I just feel like by the third day, like getting into that high bed is a little bit of a struggle. So if somebody can come with you, that's great. But if not, you still grind it out. And I feel like you get that energy from other people around you. Other people have, their parents and moms there that you kind of connect with. So there's always somebody lurking around the corner to help you. You're not just completely stuck. I mean, my other friend, she never had transferred on a bed by herself, and she's fairly new, and she was there and she had her own room, and I literally was like pushing her up from in my wheelchair, like onto the bed, and like pushing her over. She was like literally having a spasm in the middle. Her foot got caught in the chair, but she made it on the bed. So that's the great part. It was possible. We did it, and it was a great learning experience for her. And I think it was a learning experience for me. I've honestly never even went through an event that long without a caregiver there with me. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. Um, did you guys have caregivers? Josie, did you have a caregiver with you this year?
No,
Or
so I came alone. My mom came for the last little bit because we were spending the week in LA afterwards. So she did come and like kind of hang a little bit. Oh, and she actually had a table at the with all the sponsors where you could like the Booths and Babes, where you can
oh,
like around and like talk to all the sponsors. So I remember like looking over and the line to talk to my mother is like 30 people long, and I'm like, oh my god. No, it was funny.
Oh, how was that for her? Like seeing you in that environment.
I think it's really like meaningful to my whole family to see how I've kind of risen from the ashes of what happened to us. My whole family was actually in the accident, and I was the only major injury. So
Oh wow.
I think for me, like pushing through and like continuing to just climb higher, I know that it's really helped them kind of accept that like this is my normal now, and I think they're really proud of what I'm doing. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's also an experience for caregivers and even friends. I've heard stories of friends that have came, significant others, anything, because basically when you're just living your day-to-day life with them, they're kind of only seeing you do things. They're kind of only hearing your story. So even if you're like, I got it, they're not really sure. Like they're kind of still lurking, like, do you got it? I feel like the experience gives them this new, vision, this new reality of what's possible, and the fact that no, I'm not the only one out here doing this, and like it makes them like look at us differently as well, with more hope and happiness and just that breath that my daughter's okay. I feel like that was a lot for my mom. Just to know I'm okay. I have friends out here now. I am smiling. I'm happy. We're dancing. We're drinking. We're smoking. We're having a great time over here. All A1. It's okay. It's not just strictly about the walking part.
Mhm.
Because for so long I did only think like I could be happy unless I was walking. Honestly, and the Rollettes really gave me a different perspective on that. They really taught me how to laugh again, and it really did not happen for me until the Rollettes experience. I was even like really at it in a weird relationship with God at the moment and everything. And after that, I just felt extremely blessed to be in that position. And I started building my relationship with God again. And it was just so wonderful to hear like, nothing's wrong with you, like this sucks that this happened to you, but it doesn't mean that you're not worth something anymore. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve your dreams to come true. You don't deserve to feel beautiful. Like, and I think that's what it mainly comes down to. So yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Sorry, Nicole. So is it like going on to the big sis or what is your next move? So do you automatically get to go to being a big sis or is it kind of like a process? Do they let you pick and choose or Maya, how do you know how that is?
So when it comes to like next steps from little sisters, there have been little sisters that have been, little sisters for a couple of years, so ideally, all of us, we want to, go out to like LA full time, and be a full time team member. But it's always like an internal decision based on the rolettes and like how things are going. So,
Mhm.
we are just here as little sisters and just, trying to keep moving on.
Yeah, everybody's journey is definitely different with that then.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, Renee says, "Go girls, keep up the positive attitude." And is it hard to travel? So, how's traveling been like for you?
Hi.
Let's go to Missy. How's traveling?
Traveling was definitely difficult getting. I had my mom and my grandma go with me the first couple of times. So I traveled to LA with them, and they stayed in a separate hotel. And then I stayed at Chelsea's, and it was like I got to do the grown up thing while they stayed on still like, independent enough while they stayed on their
Mhm.
own. We met back together after the weekend and they helped me with my bags, but it was just like a learning process. And they did that
Mhm.
with me 2 or 3 times until I got the hang of it. Now, whenever I travel, I go on my own. So they'll take me to the airport, but then I go inside with one bag and I drop it off. That way I have just the one bag in my lap. and I pack my meds and a pillow for the plane ride, maybe a change of clothes just in case anything. Um, and I think that's about it for on the plane. And then I have an Uber pick me up whenever I get there, and I pick up my bags. And then I show up at Chelsea's house, and I'm like, "Hey, girl, I'm here." And I stay for.
I love it. Yeah. I think it's about like tips and tricks. You kind of learn it and you're not going to know unless you try. I was so deadly afraid of flying. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this whole year, each time I go, I learn something new each time. Like, I mess up, I'm like, dang it, I could have done that better. But, you know, I mean, I'm traveling on my own, so I'm like really proud of
Uh-huh.
myself. I didn't do that before. When I was able bodied, I wasn't traveling alone. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
proud.
same. I feel the same, yeah. And like the reality is that you can plan for things to go wrong, and everything, but sometimes you just have to go because it's not, practical to stop everything from happening. Unfortunately, something might happen, and what I realized with us is we're just on to the next solution, and after you've been disabled for a while, you're kind of like focused, like, all right, what do we got to do next? We already know that struggles are going to come with us, but we're just like, we can't freak out in this moment. We have to look for a solution, and so I think that it's scary. It's scary like anything, but you have to give it a try. You're not going to know unless you try, and you're probably going to have more questions or get some of your questions answered like when you do. And you don't have to do it right away by yourself. Like Missy said, maybe go with somebody a couple of times and try it out and then do it by yourself. That's what I did too. Um, Maya, how is it for you being a quad traveling?
So with me, I do travel with a caregiver. I travel with someone else. And with my first Rolex experience, I was traveling with my mom. Now more often when I'm going to LA back and forth, I'm traveling with my boyfriend. And for me, us with luggage, because I overpack, it's still a little difficult. Because I've been gaining a lot of spasms, and in the winter it's a lot worse. So when I'm trying to like get out of the car and then I'm trying to push myself through the airport, I'm having spasms in my arms. So they're stopping, and then he's trying to like push me and have two suitcases. So it can be a mess. But definitely my recommendations and tips for that is keeping a positive attitude. I go through travel shit shows all the time. It's Maria and I that have bad luck traveling on the team. And the way that we really get through that is just positivity, and looking forward to getting to our destination, and just, really, again, positivity, staying happy about it, making jokes and stuff. But traveling can be difficult. I just have to make sure, I have everything that I need. I actually, this last time I went to LA, forgot all of my bowel program stuff. So we're practicing, and I'm telling Missy, I'm like, we got to get to Walmart somehow, like this is insane right now. But definitely laughing through those moments and just making the best out of them.
Yeah, there's definitely paranoia with forgetting something. I always feel like even when I go to my dad's house, because he lives like about like an hour and a half from where I live at. And so when I have to pack everything, I'm just like, what about if I don't bring this one thing and then I'm gonna need it, And then of course I forget something that's like more important and brought a whole freaking bunch of crap that I didn't even need to use, But better safe than sorry, I always say. And like I feel like those times where I don't bring it is the times that I actually do need something, So now I've gotten like pretty good at getting like my handy dandy bag ready, like necessities and like things that you're gonna need, and like always making a checklist and checking it twice, and really thinking about what you would need or what you would be able to just get at a store, or different things like that. And making sure that you have your necessities, like your medicine, catheters, anything like that. And yeah, that's what I would say. Um, so, Josie, how's it been for you traveling after being in your accident?
So I actually My accident was in New York. So
Okay.
I wasn't home the whole time I was in like inpatient rehab. So
Mhm.
I flew home after that. So I had to be real okay with flying like right away because otherwise, like driving back, it would have been like 7 hours, but like I could have gone like a pressure sore or something like that. So they were like, no, we
Mhm.
just need to fly. But I think because my accident was in a small plane, the bigger like commercial size planes didn't bother me as much except for the landing. But I did a lot of therapy, and so I kind of like worked through that trauma with the actual like flying part. And then with the
Mhm.
travel, like I would always have like my fiance or my dad or somebody there to like help with my bags and stuff. But the first time I traveled alone was when I came to visit Chelsea last March. And so then, like, it's like every time I'm with these girls, like, I learn something new. Like, the one time Connor was like, get a hard shell suitcase because the weight is more evenly distributed, like, over the wheels when you wheel it versus like a soft shell, it's more like skewed to one side, so it's easier to push. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, that's genius. Like, I like it's little things that you never think about. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, it's because they have like so many years of like wisdom and experience. It's impossible to learn all their tips and tricks and even, a couple visits. So like
yeah.
it's so cool to see like them always adapting too, and they're learning from the newly injured people too. So they always have new tips and tricks. So that's so interesting that you got how to get so used to it so quick. I was injured in Arizona and I was from California, so I had to fly back right after rehab too. And it was a horrible experience for me. So like, that's really powerful that you were able to still do that and you haven't let it stop you because I mean, I still know people that have been in accidents that are deadly afraid to get inside that car, because of their trauma. And everybody's trauma is different, of course, don't get me wrong, everybody needs to take their time and work through it. And I really think therapists are a great source that really help you and just kind of help you figure out all the scrambles inside of your brain. But you know, after a while, you can find that this injury, it's really easy to have excuses. I can blame things on my chair and my disability all day long. But I realize that when I do that, I stop living my life. So it can only be one or the other. And it's like, yeah, I could lay in this bed all day and be in pain and be scared of the world, or I can attack this world head on. And that's kind of like the options that were dealt, the hand that were dealt. And I think that it's so cool that so early on you were able to just make life changing decisions, and really become such an amazing person and grow so much. Like it's really a beautiful story.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Um, yeah, so let's see. So, and leading into that, how has your life changed since becoming a Rollettes Little Sis? And what is the best part about being a part of the team? So, Maya, you want to go?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so since being a little sis, my life has changed in ways unimaginable. For one, I've gained a lot just personally within like my confidence and like knowing who I am, self awareness, motivation, constantly trying to make myself better, looking for different avenues and being mindful of my actions, just like within my own head, just being aware of a lot more stuff than I was previously. And then also externally, like I've learned, more about making content. And that has been something that has changed my life because it's become more enjoyable to me because I'm putting out the information that I want people to know. I'm learning how to make educational content and how to share tips, things that I learned at Rollettes Experience, things that I learned from being around other girls in wheelchairs. And now I'm able to put that information out there virtually, which was something that I was super inspired by when I was early on in my injury. And, I've traveled more times than I can count this year. It's been a lot of fun. I have done a lot of performances and met so many people, and doing those performances, like that was a crazy part to me. Like actually going and dancing in front of people, like in a wheelchair, like going to Rollettes experience was one thing because it's like dancing with a bunch of other girls in chairs, and we're like we were saying earlier, we're in the zone, like that's what we're there for. But performing it in front of other people, able-bodied, whoever they are, just out there in public, has been a confidence changer. And I have really seen the differences in my own dancing and my improvement, and it's made me feel so much better about myself. I've noticed the way I'm able to adapt choreography now versus the way I was able to at Rollette's experience, when I was like, wait, what do you mean adapt choreo? And I actually performed a Christmas dance on this um, virtual thing for the Simone Foundation of Hope. And that was my first time choreographing a dance by myself, so it's like little things like that that have really changed my outlook and confidence completely. And I'm so forever grateful.
That was so powerful. I loved it so much. So beautiful. I love that you're seeing that growth within yourself as well. Like, so empowering. How about you, Josie? How's your life changed?
I think the biggest and most obvious change in my life is that I moved to California. And before my injury, I never thought I would end up out west. I honestly thought that I would like stay in the Midwest, East area, and like near family. But like seeing all the other girls, like Connor moved across the country, Catherine moved from Texas, like all the other girls who just like made the jump and like dove into it head first. Like I think that was a huge change for me because I'm always somebody who like very carefully considers everything and like goes over to my head like what if this, what if that happens. But I was just like I'm going for it. And I'm so glad that I did. And personally, like internally, I think that becoming a little cis has helped me like be more of an open and vulnerable person. Just like sharing the more intimate parts of my life, like how I use the bathroom and like day to day activities. And sometimes like even my fiance and I like our like intimate sex life and stuff like that. Like things that I never thought I would be like sharing on the internet, but like knowing how it helps other people um, has like really changed how I like present myself as a person. So.
Oh, I love it so much. That's so beautiful. How about you, Missy? How's your life changed?
I feel like I have a cause now. I feel so driven to answer y'all's like DMs and all of y'all's questions that y'all have. So I'm just like on my phone constantly, like trying to answer as many as like y'all have. I'm trying to post on my stories to share my life and share my therapy and share even aerial silks and fashion. Maybe I want to know about how I put on my pants or what clothing options we have or what braces I use or what therapy places I go to or how I'm walking. Just share as much as information I can just to be as open and helpful because I have platform that I've been given. I didn't have that a year ago. Who was I? Now I've been given that, and I just feel like, I just want to help because I don't know. I don't,
Yeah,
it
you've
feels
been lit
good.
that fire in you. Yeah, that's so special. Like that, you find joy in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely fuels me to be able to help other women along their journey. And I think something that's so cool that the Roulettes do for the people that they bring on the team is like they are building the girls up in different ways. They are helping you build your social media up. And like in BBS, they do give you tips as well, and they do help you growing. But in general, I just think that their mission, is just so great because you can really see that their heart is pure in it as well, and they know how much one person's life can affect a bunch of other people's lives, and so now it's just this ripple effect. And to see that you guys are saying, like, I was lost, or I didn't know where I was going to go next or what was next for me in life, and they kind of did give me this new journey, this new path and this new thrill and this new energy, and all these people that I'm able to inspire and motivate with my content. Something so simple as posting a video, or just answering a question, whether it's something so simple like a lot of these girls, they are looking up to people like with the platform, with social media followers, and I think that that's super cool that we get to be a part of this community. This community is filled with warriors and people who have been through stuff, and to be able to just stick together and keep on rolling, and to motivate one another. There's nothing greater. I really feel like it really gives me a purpose in my life, so yeah, that's so great. Um, Nicole said, Joci, I love watching your content and have been watching your growth. You are so amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And Nicole told Maya, let's move to Cali. Yes, I vote for everybody to move to Cali.
Well, come with me, Nicole. I'm going this year. DM me. We'll talk about it.
Yes.
I love it. That would be super cool. And then I'll be like, look it, we were talking about it right here. We made it into action, made it a plan. Love that. Okay, so last question. What does being a boundless babe mean to you, and how has this title pushed you to be greater in your life? So, a boundless babe is a term that, did the Rollettes come in with the general, or was it just Chelsea that came up with it? I think Chelsea, huh? Because it says Chelsea's
Yeah, I
name at the
think it's
bottom.
Chelsea.
Yeah. So Chelsea came up with the term boundless babe because at the time, a lot of news articles or news stations or just people in general, when they're writing articles about wheelchair users, they'll put wheelchair bound on it. And it really gives you like an ugly feeling to really feel like bound to your wheelchair. And it really gives able bodied people a perception that isn't true. Like, we are not bound to our wheelchairs. This is a false statement that you guys are making as part of our identity, and it's not even a part of us. Like, okay, one thing to call me disabled, but another thing to call me wheelchair bound, those are two very different things because one isn't true. My wheelchair is a tool that helps me get around this world. It helps me become, a part of life. It doesn't pull me away from life. So I really think that's a different term that Chelsea realized that was happening and took ownership of, and was like, no, we are boundless. We are boundless babes, and we got this. And the actual, I don't remember the actual meaning. Let me see. I have my finger. A boundless babe sets her mind on something and goes for it. She takes on challenges head on. She proves to everyone and herself that she can do anything. What a beautiful freaking meaning, right? And I see girls come and learn this term. And I remember I had a bracelet on after my first Rollettes experience for probably like a year or two after that. And anytime I doubted myself, I would just be like, no, you're boundless. Like, you are a boundless babe. You got this, and it would just make me feel so energetic to just take on whatever task that is, or just to get through the day. And sometimes you need that little push, So I really feel like all the emotions from the Rollettes experience come back when I think about that term too. And it just reminds me of the possibilities that I could be, So I really love that term so, so much. Maya, how's it been for you? What does it mean to you to be a boundless babe, and how has it made your life greater? How has it changed anything for you, and what do you think about that term? You mentioned a little bit earlier that the first year that you would just say boundless nonstop.
Yeah, so being a boundless babe, being boundless, was really realizing that I don't have any limitations. We put so many limitations on ourselves, especially since we've gotten injured, and society puts so many limitations on people with disabilities as well. And it was really just shifting the frame of mind, and realizing that I can still do anything I want. I'm still powerful. I'm still a badass even if I'm in a wheelchair. And to me, that really shifted so much in my life. And I can bring that into, my career, into my advocacy with activism. Like, I would have never thought I would be out leading a freaking protest through streets, like in my wheelchair. Like, who does that? Who thinks of that? I put so many limits on myself that when George Floyd died and people were talking about it in my town, like negatively, I was afraid because I was like, who's going to listen to this little girl in the wheelchair, but I had to remember that term, that I'm boundless and that I can do whatever I want. And I went out and I did that. And now I have a statewide coalition, that is advocating for prisoners' rights and making changes. And we're connected with Color of Change, who's like this huge million follower network that's actually like made significant changes in this world. And I would have never thought that I would be on that same level, and it's crazy how a disability can make you think that, like you can't change anything or that you're less than, and so the term boundless babe really anchors that into me, that there's no limits.
Yeah, I love that so much because it's true. We kind of do feel like automatically now that we're disabled, we're less than. And in reality, I feel like our voices magnify, and they really do have an effect, and we're kind of put in this position for people to kind of listen a little bit more when we're speaking, or we are grabbing that attention already when we're out in public, so might as well use it for a good cause, and I think that that's something that's cool and special about that. Definitely. I love that. Um, Joci, what does a boundless babe mean to you, and how has this title pushed you to be greater in your life?
Um, well, I feel like it's the same thing, like being boundless. I can just go for it. Like moving to California, just do it, you know? What's the worst thing that can happen? I don't like it and I go back home. Like it's it's kind of like erasing some of the limitations that I put on myself, not just because of my disability, but also like mentally. Like, I don't know how many of you guys struggle with like anxiety and depression, but that stuff can also limit you depending on like how you shape your mindset and how you view the world. And I think that being a boundless babe, like we exemplify that, but it doesn't have to just like fit into this little community that we have. It's not little, it doesn't have to fit into our like community, because like I'm wearing a boundless babe shirt right now, and I had another one from like a year or so ago that got too small, so I gave it to my 12-year-old cousin who is able-bodied, but she wears it to school and all her friends are like, what's being a boundless babe? And she's like, oh, I'm a boundless babe. And she like tells all her friends about like the Rollettes and stuff. So I just think that the term boundless babe is so powerful. It doesn't even have to define our community. Like it can spread so wide and it can start with us. And I just think that that's like really powerful. And it's like a powerful movement that I'm excited to see grow over the next few years.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's so true, and I didn't even realize how much I honestly think about the term just throughout my life in general. Like just not even talking about my disability. It's just like I suffer with depression, anxiety too. So just dealing with the struggles of life can be so hard sometimes, and you can really feel like you don't want to keep on going. And it's with able-bodied people too. They doubt themselves. They have insecurities. They have bad days. And I feel like we all need this little just push of motivation to remind ourselves that yes, we can do it, and it is possible, regardless of our bad days. We can't let it stop us. So yeah, that's such a great realization that it's for everyone. So if you're able-bodied and listen, you're a boundless babe too, even you guys out there. So Missy, what does it mean for you, and how has it pushed you or changed anything in your life, that term?
So, a boundless babe for me is someone who is motivated and someone that has no limits, like socially and professionally. So I'm doing like aerial silks. I don't know if you can see them hanging here. Like my
Cool.
So I'm doing aerial silks and I'm having to adapt them for, me in a chair. I did them when I was an able bodied, but it's very different in a chair. So it's very hard now, but I'm very committed to doing it. And I want to show others that I'm still fierce now and committed and I'm going to do it. I'm still a boundless babe. And then professionally, I did ultrasounds before this, very different avenue now, doing creative content stuff versus medical stuff before. But they've called me and they asked me if I would be interested in coming back. And I said, I wasn't interested. Things have changed, but I'm actually going to go back and help them change how their stuff is laid out for the next person that is in a chair. So if someone else is in a
Wow.
wheelchair, they can, maneuver and get around because they want to have someone that's in a chair. They don't want to discriminate against someone because they did want to hire me back, but their room is not accessible at all. So, I want to create that for someone. I want to be able to,
Yes.
so,
If it's not there, if that path isn't digged out for us, like sometimes we do need to create it. So like anybody out there that's listening or just wondering, like there isn't anybody disabled doing this, or this isn't possible, like you just don't know until you really try. And even when you try and you fail sometimes, you still have to keep on going. You don't know what even speaking up or what you could talk to other people that are bigger in the company and really help them out. I mean, I've talked to numerous disabled people that have really changed stuff in their workplace where they were before, in the company in general, and like taught them and showed them like, hey, this is a problem now, and it could be a problem for other people in the future, and them just bringing that realization. Because unfortunately, since there's so many able-bodied people, they don't realize what is needed for us. They don't really think about that little step where they're like, it's just a little step, and it's like, okay, it can be a lot bigger for me though. It can make me less independent even to have that little step there, or whatever the case may be, not having a ramp, not even having maybe doors that open by themselves. There's numerous amount of things. So if you see it, speak up about it if it's in your power to. If it's going to cause you any negative feelings, or you feel like you have anxiety or you just don't feel like you have that voice, then of course don't stress yourself out about it. But I would say that if you do have that voice, you don't know how much that could help the next person, because there will be another person. Our community is really big, and we don't know every single person that's disabled. So there could be somebody there that's been disabled for 5 years and just haven't been involved in the community, and that happens all the time. So yeah, I think that that's so cool and so powerful. Like you're changing something from your past life, and making it better for the people that are coming after you. Like that's
yeah,
something that nobody can take away from you.
change the room. So like it was only that room that they were changing, for that moment. They said that they were going to change more, but I was excited.
Yeah, that's so super big. I love that. That's so great. This has been a great conversation. Let me make sure I did all the comments. Ashley says she's coming to my
Wouldn't have it any other way, Ash.
yeah. Everyone's invited. The more the merrier. You will never hear the end of it from us, Ashley, if you do not come. Food is art. Do you like to cook? Renata, this is so true. You guys are so inspiring and motivational. So the cooking one, we're gonna have to circle back around that because we're a little bit over time right now. We have Sean and Tom just did a cooking video on our channel, so we have a couple different videos about that. If you want to go through our Live to Roll channel, there's a bunch of different topics on there that you can just scroll through and check out. So Definitely. There's tips and hacks for that as well. Okay, I think that's about it. So thank you so much for joining us today. I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, urology professionals and mobility professionals. They really help you a lot with your catheters and with your wheelchairs, just fitting them to your size. And their customer service is great with their urology care because they have people in wheelchairs on their team. They kind of know what we need and what we want. They're super fast with it. So make sure to go check them out. Tom and Sean the guys are back. I don't know why I keep on saying Tom and Sean. I think because I just said it in the cookie video. Sorry about that, Bobby. The guys are back on Tuesday at 3:30 with new topics, and I am back with the new Women's Disability Show every first and third Thursday, so come and check us out. If you'd like to be a guest or if you have a topic for us, just jump in our DMs. We're pretty open about answering people back, and we love to have new people. We love to meet new people, so just reach out to us. Thank you again, girls, for joining us. I really, really appreciate it, and until next time, bye.